You know when you see somebody before, but you can't picture when you first see them. I was like, I've seen.
Yeah.
I might have seen her at a couple of events, but I can't remember.
It hasn't been in the last year, though. I know that.
Oh, where you at now?
I've been home. I've been playing with COVID. I'm not going
Oh,
nowhere.
gotcha.
Nothing.
I thought you may have moved out of
Oh no,
hey,
no,
there you go.
no.
I was like, wait, don't tell
I
me.
moved. I moved into my home.
Yeah, you and me both. So that's why I've been doing these. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I had some time to reflect, and there's some amazing, Black folks doing a lot of amazing stuff in the community and building, creating stuff, and God, the universe, whatever you believe in, spoke to me and said, you know what? There's not enough of our stories being told out there. Because I remember because it was. I already knew this, but every time I go out in Southeast San Diego to do job programs or talk to the youth, even older people, they're like, that's not for me, fam, or I can't do that, or there's only one Black person in that space doing that. And it's just like these limiting beliefs that we have. I'm like, nah, fam.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us doing this. Like, we out here.
Yeah. We do have limiting beliefs. That's what I tell my students in writing, because they'll be like, well, there's already stories about that. I'm like, yo, but it's not your story. Everybody's is different. That's why there's so many love songs. There's a gajillion love songs, but it's a different perspective. Like, do your thing. Whatever you feel called to do it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think our community, I have a couple of thoughts and theories on it, but I'm curious to learn yours. Why do you think our community in general has such limiting beliefs about what we could do, what we be, even if we see just one of us doing it, and we think it's an anomaly that only that one person could be in that space?
That's a good question. Maybe it's internalized racism. Like maybe, throughout the generations, we just feel like, it's like in the back of our heads that we're not supposed to do certain things because we are Black. I mean, it could be, I don't know. I don't know the psychology behind it, but yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question.
And part of that too, I think is part of the, the structural systemic racism that PTSD has been passed down. And then, then the other part is, education, lack of, or exposure to.
Exposure. Yeah.
And so I'm going to try to do the exposure part. And Lord knows we need some healing from the rest of the stuff. And hopefully somebody listens to this and create an environment where we get some healing.
Yeah. Exposure for real. Yeah. Because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you haven't seen, what's out there. It's like traveling. You don't know what's out in the world outside of your neighborhood until you actually go out there and say, oh, people are normal, or proximity to white people and proximity to Black people, like people in the Midwest. They don't see no Black people. They're like, Black people are what I saw on TV. That show I saw with that Black man acting crazy. That's what Black people are. And then, and then they live around Black people like, oh, they're actually not that bad. They're kind of cool.
It's funny. I was having somebody have a conversation with me overseas. So I interview people from Blacks all around the diaspora, because I was raised. I'm a Black American, but I was raised by a Nigerian man, and there was often conflict between different Black cultures. I grew up in DC, where the hood I grew up in DC, there was all sorts of Black. There was Jamaicans, Haitians, Trinidadians, Africans, and then Black Americans. And sometimes we didn't all mesh together because we just had different conflicting beliefs of the other group, right? And I was interviewing somebody from I think a Black person from the UK, and it was telling me how how they love to emulate Black culture, and then but there's also stereotypes from what they see in media of Black culture of boys in the hood, like that's all they see of Black culture, so they think that's how Black people are in the U.S. All Black people, right? And I was like, oh, this is interesting. The media has painted us to be one thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when it comes to music, my thing has always been, okay, y'all get to see all these other images especially in other countries where they see is the images that's put out by media, which is not going to be a flattering one for us. It's just not, especially for Black women. We're just, we're bitches and hoes, you know, but that's why for me, it was like, kind of, let's tip the scales. Let's have a little bit of balance and create something that is different. Let's, you know, like everybody is not what you see on TV. In fact, most people are not what you see on TV. But people believe what they see.
Speaking of Black women, we got a Black woman in the office, in one of the highest office now. What sits with you when you see that image? First of all, before you get to that one, Amanda Gorman, that girl, she killed it. Like she had me in tears. I had my little daughter right there watch. I was like,
yeah.
I wish you knew the impact of these words right now, baby girl.
and the images, just, you know, just to see that this is a young Black girl at the inauguration. It's to finally see yourself and see that that's something that I can do. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And Kamala. Kamala? I was
Kamala. You got it right. You got it.
It's beautiful. I just love seeing Black people in traditionally white places, just in dope ass outfits. Like, what? What? I am here. We have a right. And what? And I love Michelle Obama. So that was exciting to see her. It's always exciting to see her. I will say politics are not really my jam.
You know what? I'm just looking at the imagery.
The imagery is it's beautiful. Yeah.
You know, and you know, not dealing with the politics. Like, even when Amanda Gorman gave that powerful poem, like, if you know, in her last statements, if only we were brave enough to be it, brave enough to see it. Like, she was speaking to me on like different levels. I know she was speaking to everybody, but I was like, how is this young woman speaking to me and the whole country all at the same time?
That's that Black woman wisdom. We're gonna come with it. It's in the DNA.
Yeah, and another thought that came to mind for me is like, man, you know, the Black woman is the most disrespected woman on in this country, but yet look at the poise for this Black woman, young Black woman, to you know, take the whole country on her bosom, give us a pat on the shoulder and the head, and piece us together and give us a direction to go in. Like, this has been the Black woman's role, like, for this country, like, ever since we came over here as slaves, like, to hold down two households, a white one and a Black one, to piece things together for both households when both households are broken and fragile. And I don't understand how we don't put more value on the Black woman after, you know, everything, you know, even as all our Black men get incarcerated, holding down the household and raising babies. Like, is this, I can't fathom why we can't see that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, same. as a Black woman, same. We are the epitome of resilience. And yeah, I don't know. We keep showing up. We keep showing up and showing out.
Okay. And I'm gonna do my best to show up and show out for you, whatever my sisters need. So, welcome everybody. We just getting it in. That's all we doing. To another episode of Raspreneurs. My engineers will have a heck of a time chopping, screwing this up, but but you know, we always like to get into, you know, heavy conversations. Oh, just to give you a backdrop on the episode, on the podcast. I don't know if Christina, Xtina told you. Wait, is it Christina or Xtina that? Because I know both.
Xtina.
All right. The podcast is going to be just natural conversation. Most of my questions are just mostly based around your career and, you know, how you got started, and then we might have some organic conversation breakout in between that. Like I said before, I want people to get to know you, your background, how you got to where you're at, and hopefully some young person or some person who's in a midlife crisis sees your story, gets inspired, and say, you know what? If she could do it, I could do it too. So
that's how I roll through life.
Yeah.
If I see somebody do something, I'm like, me too. I can do that.
Or get curious about, like, I've never heard of this career pathway, So and just so I'm saying your name right, how do I pronounce your first name?
Miki, like Miki. The mouse.
All right, Miki. All right, that's an easy one. All right, so let's start off with this, Miki. Who is Miki? I know that's a deep question. I want you to take it wherever it goes. Who is Miki?
Miki. Miki is a lover, a fighter, an artist, a creator, an entrepreneur. Miki is intuitive. Miki is home. Miki is warmth. Miki is love.
Love that.
Miki is resilience. Miki is strength. Miki is what's the opposite of strength?
Opposite of strength, weak.
But not weak though. Okay, not weak. Miki ain't weak. Miki is strong. Miki is gentle. Miki is kind. And Miki loves life. Miki has lived a lot and has gone through a lot of things and has come out on the other side, at least this far, much wiser and stronger for all of it.
Ooh, I love every single word of that. Like, and I feel the love through the conversation we just first had. Like, and I know there's about to be some wisdom. So, you're an entrepreneur. So tell me about that. What do you do entrepreneurially? What is your product, services, gift to the world?
Well, I'm an artist, and independent artists are businesses. I'm also the founder of Soul Kids Theater, which is an arts education organization for queer Black women.
Okay.
To share stories in meaningful ways through playwriting. Right now it's playwriting, but the plan is for it to grow into podcast, an anthology, different things. Have some different plans that I'm working on.
Okay, we gotta get that podcast going. If I could get a podcast going in a pandemic, so can you.
yeah, it's on the agenda.
I love it. So, how did you get into this space? Like, did you just wake up one day, or did you have a mentor? Like, what was the journey to get to?
The journey, wow. The journey has definitely not been linear. It's been, all up and down and around this way and the other, dead end roads, and turn back around, make a U-turn and try again. I think I'm a Taurus, so I'm incredibly stubborn. There's you can't stop me. You can knock me down. I'm going to get up and the horns are going to come out and I'm going to just keep coming. I'm going to try a different route. So that is how I got started, just being incredibly stubborn and not, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do a 9 to 5. I had many and realized this is not for me. I left my last 9 to 5 in 2007. I left to become a dog walker because, and I was making way more money at this job, but I couldn't feel it. It was unethical. I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, I don't care how much money. I can't do this. And I'd be sitting in an office all day from 7 to 4. I'm just sitting in an office looking at San Diego through the window. It's like, what do I live here? What do I pay all this money to live here for if I can't even be out enjoying it? So I became a dog walker because what better way to be out enjoying your city than being with dogs and being outside, and I didn't have to deal with humans. It was the best. Right. And so while I was doing that, I started. Well, prior to that, I was a hip hop artist. I've been a hip hop artist for many, many moons, and I had performed pretty much every venue in San Diego up to that point. So I had a lot of relationships with a lot of venues, and I decided I wanted to start throwing events for women. And so I did. I reached out to one of the venue owners where I had performed. It was downtown. At the time, it was called Honey Beehive. I think it's sushi now. Honey Beehive.
Are you talking Queen Bees?
No. It's on C Street downtown. I think it's still there. I think it's called Honey Sushi or something like that. But at the time, it was called Honey Beehive. It was a performance venue, and so I had the first Soul Kiss event there, and it was cool. And I was going to have another one the following month, and 2 days before the event, I heard through the grapevine that the venue had shut down. So that didn't happen. So Soul Kiss got put on hold for a few months, and then another friend who worked at another venue said that they had gone to it. They had gone to the first Soul Kiss and they loved it so much, and do you want to do it here at this venue? And this was at Kadon. What's it called now? Everything has changed.
So much
Polite Provisions. Yeah, Polite Provisions. Yeah.
I know Polite
Prior to Polite Provisions, it was Kadon. It was this little dive bar on the corner. So started doing it there, and it took off. It was crazy. It was just, I think the first month, maybe 10 people came, and then the next month it was like 200 people. And we were just busting out into the streets. So did that for a while. And then it just kept growing. It just kept growing and growing and growing. Here we had to get to a bigger venue. So we moved to the Flame. And for me, it was just fun because I'm a creative. So I got to create these experiences, and that's what it was all about for me, and the community. You know, people were happy, like, oh my God, there's a place for us. So, so we just, when we moved to a bigger venue at the Flame, I brought my friend on, DJ Naomi SoFly, because she had always done hip hop events with me. And so we partnered up and just started having fun with it, just throwing all types of different types of events, game nights and open mics. And we always had our weekly club nights on Friday nights. And we did that for almost 9 years.
Man, I can't wait for us to open back up and people to be sensible again so I can get some of this soul.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No worries. Listening to you talk, when you're talking about being in that window at that job, I had that same feeling. I'm going to be super transparent. There was a job that I did, and fortunate enough, it let me go. It was with this company called Ashford University. And I remember that. I remember just being there, and then I was like, this is not for me. Like, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. And I mean, I would literally just sit out looking out the window and thinking, why am I doing this? I have to wear these silly clothes to sit in a cubicle. Cause I want to dress the way I want to dress. I'm a hip hop head. I want to, I want to dress, and I'd have to, buy clothes specifically for this job to sit in a cubicle. This didn't make any sense to me. Like, y'all aren't even looking at me. You don't even see me all day. And I got to spend my money, my little pennies. Cause I'm barely making any money, cause I got to pay this high ass rent. And, so it just, I couldn't do it after a lot of jobs. And the last one, I think I was making $20 an hour, which at that time was really good
money. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. I got to figure something else out. So, And then when Soul Kiss got going, I made more money than I'd ever made in my lifetime. Like, we were just bank. And it was cash. It was cash much every week. So then that kind of, it reached a peak, a really amazing peak, and we did so much. And then it just kind of fizzled, as things do. It just kind of,
it came in
kind of
for a
fizzled out.
season where it was needed, and then you go on to create the next thing. Where do you get the kids from? Just out of curiosity, how did you get kids to jump into this thing?
What kids?
Oh, I thought you said soul kids.
Oh, no. Soul kiss. Kiss. Yeah. No, but that's funny because I teach hip hop. I teach hip hop and playwriting, but I teach hip hop to kids. And somebody mentioned you should do Soul Kids. It's like, that's actually a real cool name.
I think the kids would love it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I want to, because one thing I want to do, because although you talked a little bit about the career transition before you became an entrepreneur and you started being, very successful by doing something that you love. By the way, it's one of my mantras. I tell people, do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money, let the money chase you. And what I mean by that is when you really do, in essence, in the work that you love and do it with the people that you love, like, the money shows up. Like, it just, like, you start to attract things instead of chase things. And that's what happens for you.
And that's Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's the absolute truth.
Yeah. The oldest nursery rhyme is giving us the code right there, right? You got a cheat code right there. We didn't even know it. Because sometimes when I talk to youth, they're like, and I help them transition, starting where they're at. And sometimes you need to take that first job to get, some experience and learn a couple things, right? Especially learn what you don't want. And it's like, this job ain't for me, And you got to start from somewhere. And I tell them, every person who's done something great in life, they all started from somewhere. It's not where you think they started from. So I always like to ask this question to my guests. What was your first job? Your very, very, very first job?
My first job. I was trying to think of this earlier. It was so long ago, but it was either one of two. I kind of had two first jobs. Okay. They were like 3 weeks apart, and I can't remember which one was first, but it was either McDonald's, and I think it was McDonald's because I only worked at McDonald's for 3 weeks, and that was enough for me to know I never wanted to work in fast food again. And then I believe right after that, I got hired at my dad's job at the city of Oxnard. I grew up in Oxnard, California, and he worked at the city of Oxnard. He was a garbage man, and then he worked his way up to the office. And so I got a job there, and that was actually really cool. I got to drive the company trucks and stuff.
Okay, all right.
But I remember I was making $4.25 an hour.
$4.25 an hour?
That's what minimum wage was.
Wow, I didn't know that was what minimum wage was back in the day. All right, okay. Like when you think about that first job, were there any tangible skills that you learned or lessons that you learned that you took with you as you started growing your career?
Well, with, like I said, McDonald's, I learned I didn't want to work in fast food. I never did that again. Organization, I think from that other job with the city, or just how to organize. That was a really cool job. Thinking back, that was a cool little gig for a 16-year-old. Yeah, they had me, filing and doing office stuff, and it put me in the direction of working office jobs, which was cool because you do gain a lot of skills from working in an office and like being the front desk receptionist and having to be the first point of contact. Oh, and then you know what? For a while I was working at Walmart. I was working layaway at Walmart. I know I was working two jobs at a time most of the time.
Look at you, little hustler.
So I think at one point I was working at the office and working at Walmart. And yeah, you learn something from every experience. I mean, not even just jobs, just experiences in general, just dealing with other human beings. You're going to take something away from that experience. And I'm all about trying different things. Like you said, to know what you don't want, just like relationships, you kind of have to go through some stuff to know that, I don't want to do that again in the future. I'm not gonna when I see this coming, I know I'm gonna run the opposite direction in the future. You have experience is the best teacher. That whoever came up with that was just genius, because that's the simplest way to even define life. Experience is the best teacher. You don't know until you go and grow through something.
That experience is the best teacher, and especially when you're open to it. So now, since you're stubborn, are you open to experience allowing you to be the best teacher? Do sometimes you hold on to something longer than you should?
Okay, there's not just one answer to that. When it comes to learning things, I'm all about learning. I'm a lifetime learner. I'm in every workshop. I take all the classes, things I'm interested in. If I'm not interested in something, I refuse to engage. I will sit in the class, like in school, I would just sit in the class like, I do not want to do this. Just really hard-headed, like not even try, because I'm not interested. If my heart's in it, I follow the path my heart beats. If my heart's in it, I'm wide open. But if I'm not interested, And you said holding on to things too long. I have been known to not know how to let go of certain things. And, I'm growing. I'm learning.
And the first part of growth is acknowledgement, right? Because you have to know there's a problem before you can fix a problem, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So good answer. I know you weren't ready for that one. I was like, I'm gonna take a little twist. I'm gonna throw a curveball here real quick. So going back to your entrepreneurial journey, when you talk about Soul Kiss, like what were the steps that you kind of took to get it off the ground and build your career and business with Soul Kiss?
There's a lot of trial and error, and like I said, I'm open to learning anything I'm interested in. So, and also being a creative, like just having that passion, like I want to create this. So I learned Photoshop so I could, create flyers and do all the online stuff. I learned to DJ because DJs were expensive, and I was like, well, sure. If they can DJ, I can DJ. And also, I don't want to have to keep paying DJs. So I taught myself to DJ. It's just a curiosity and a very bullheadedness to like, I'm going to do everything I need to do to make this work. And sometimes I'm going to get knocked down and I'm going to get back up and try it again a different way. Nice. And so because I have to really feel something, and I felt that it wasn't like I was doing it for it to blow up. I was doing it because it was something that I really believed in. It was an idea that came to me that I was like, yeah, this would be cool. Let me do this and this and this. And so when I really believe in something, I'm going to do everything to make it happen. And sometimes it really is about believing in it. Cause people come to me with ideas all the time, and I don't like, not to shit on their ideas. I'll be like, well, if that's something that you feel strongly about, then you should do that.
Yeah.
But I don't really feel that. So I can't put my energy towards something I don't feel. So yeah, it was just a lot of trial and error. Just let's try this. And I had the promotional experience from doing a lot of hip hop shows, and I worked for magazines. I wrote for a lot of magazines, and I worked for a street promo back when labels did street promotion and stuff. So I had just a lot of pieces of experience built up that helped me propel this forward. So that was part one of Soul Kiss, but we'll get to part two.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll get to part two in a second. Another thing I love about this interview when you're talking is that how hip hop has been in your life with helping you create different things. And I feel the same way. A lot of people may not see it in my career journey, but hip hop has been influential. Hip hop saved my life first and foremost there, and then hip hop has been influential as me in my progression. At least the hip hop artists I follow, you know, the ones that are speaking to me, and that I'm growing with growth wise, right? How it has it been the same for you? Like, how has hip hop transformed you and helped you throughout your career and been an influence?
So, man, endless ways. It has made me fiercely independent because, you know, when you're an artist, you're doing your own thing. You're in control. I mean, you should be in control of how you present yourself in writing your own lyrics and how you want things to sound. And, or I don't know if it's made me that, or that's just how I've operated within it because I'm a Taurus. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I did street promotion. I wrote, so I met a lot of celebrities, and I learned from that experience not to idolize celebrity. And so I've never been like, I don't want to say I've never been starstruck, because there's certain people that if I met them, encountered them, I would be starstruck, but I don't just blindly think like, oh, this person is amazing because they're a celebrity. I met a lot of real.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I used to work with the street team in radio, so I met a couple of that were just real, not good people.
And also like super insecure, you know, they come off on the media makes them look one way, and then you meet them in person and they're like, they can't do nothing without the approval of the boys. Like you see a lot of like very immature, a lot of immaturity. And so I learned early on from that experience, like don't believe the hype, like don't fall for hype. And yeah, just so much. I mean, every step of the way, even now, even in recent years, when I had to look back, I went through like a midlife crisis or something where I was like, what have I been doing with my life? What am I going to do? What's my 5-year plan? I was just at a very low point, and I was trying to figure out how do I move forward? Right. And I remember just looking around my home, and the things that had made it through this journey of my life were all representative of hip hop. You know, it's like, there's records, there's the things that mean the most to me. It's like books, records, and music and art, you know, all my hip hop art and Black art, like those are the things that mean the most to me. So obviously this is something I care about. How do I make this something that I can sustain, that can sustain me for the rest of my life as I move into my golden years, and I'm not always able to be out in the streets all the time. Right. And I got to think about the future, like what's going to sustain me. And so once again, hip hop showed up and was like, look at me, I've been here all the time. Right. What you
gonna do? Having this conversation with you, Miki, throws me off when you talk about golden years and midlife crisis, because you look so young, or you just got a young energy to you. And I'm like, what's she talking about? She can't be much older than me.
Maybe I is, maybe I ain't.
We'll have that conversation on camera. But
I'm just an old soul, and I'm looking toward the future. Let's just say that.
All right, there we go. You know, now when you look at hip hop and how it's changed in the state of hip hop, what would you say it like? Me being such kind of an old head in hip hop, I love the hip hop era of the 90s, when we had like De La Soul, Brand Nubian, Queen Latifah. You know, we had the party stuff. I like the party stuff too, but we also had some hip hop of substance that, you know, like was educating folks. And I miss that part of hip hop. You know, it's hard to find that. You find those records very few in between now. I actually just came up on something new. I'm just dropping this in there because in the UK scene, they have a big surge of that more conscious hip hop that's still like, like what we saw in the 90s. And I was like, ooh, all right, UK, y'all doing it. Okay, all right, I see y'all. But what do you think the state of hip hop is? Like, where have we been? Where it is now? Where are we going?
I'm like you. My favorite era was the 90s, where there was some substance and creativity. No, I'm not gonna say there's not creativity now, but there was creativity, there was substance, everybody wanted to be different, like nobody wanted to sound like the next person. That wasn't how you rolled back then. Now it's kind of like, I think in everything, if somebody does something, me too. And, it's a lot of piggybacking, and I'm going to do this too. Like TikTok, TikTok, one person does something, they use their voice to everybody do the same thing, so it's different in that way that, copying. Yeah. I don't know how you say it, but
the copycat industry, like,
yeah, just everything kind of sounds the same.
The Mr. Me Too movement.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, but it's also I enjoy the melodicness of a lot of the new music. And it's creative, it's creative in its own way, in different ways, than it was. But I definitely, if I had to choose, I'd go back to the Talibs and Mos Defs and the bars, the stuff that I had to listen to over and over again. And each time I hear something different. Oh, wait, he said, but that also meant, and it meant this too.
He hit me with the triple entendre.
Right, the triple entendre.
I was like,
and talking about things and talking about life and making you feel like different ways. That's the thing about music, like emotion, about anything, music, storytelling, anything. Like, it's about tapping into emotions. And I don't think that a lot of the music now, for me, I'll say for me, it doesn't really tap into any emotion for me other than, what did he just say? Ooh. But yeah, I mean, every era is different. The 70s, late 70s hip hop, when hip hop is just starting, it's different from the 80s, and the 80s is different from the 90s, everything evolves and changes, and things come back around. Right. So like you said, in the UK, they're back on that. I've seen a lot of undergrounds, like, Hispanic kids, their movement is very about lyrics and that old school sound, which I found very fascinating.
Right.
So yeah, just
right. So excited. I'm excited now that you tell me that. I'm excited about. I was always excited about hip hop because I knew it could grow and knew it would evolve at some point. But now I'm even more excited to see what it becomes.
Yeah.
And I think we're ready for more substance now. I think we're done with just all party and hoes and bees and all that stuff. Let's get to some substance. Like, what are you talking about?
And can I hear your words? Can I know what your words are?
Yeah. No. Like, wait, what did he say? Like, he mumbling through the whole track. Like,
but sometimes it sounds kind of cool. It's just like another instrument.
Right.
Like, literally.
I don't know what he's saying, but I'm moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, now that we went off that tangent, what some advice would you give to someone who would like to, start a career in your industry, and do something similar to like what you've been able to do with Soul Kiss and some of your other ventures? Use their art to be, part of their business model, or vice versa.
I would say, first, understand why. Know your why. Why do you want to do this? And then, and with that, like understand your values and almost like understand what your moral compass is to understand that what you will do and what you won't do and stand firm in that. And that's where I'd say start understanding, like, why do I want to do this? Do you want to do this for money? You can do anything for money.
Yeah.
Do you want, you could, invest in the stock market or whatever, but what is it about this path that you want to, why do you want to do this? And then I think once you figure that out and you know your values, you know what you believe in, and then things start to move in that direction, and then reach out to people who are doing the same thing, the same type of thing. Like we tend, who said it? Was it Steve Jobs? Somebody said we tend to try to network up when we should network sideways. Like get to know the people who are doing the same thing around you and rise together, because there's strength in numbers. So don't be afraid to collaborate. Yeah, that's what I'd start with.
I love that. I love that. And I know you kind of gave us the blueprint when you were talking about your journey, and, you're sitting in the room looking at everything, and it looks like you really went to deep into self to figure out what was your why and what did you, and what did you value, to see what was the next move. Why is that so important? Like, why is that so important to really do that?
Why is that important? I think being true to self kind of helps you gain resilience. Like if you know what you believe in, and how do I say this? Like, okay, I was working at that last office job and I was making $20 an hour. And honestly, it wasn't even hard work. That's why I was able to look out the window so much. But I knew that I hate this first and foremost. I knew that the business itself, just seeing how excited they'd get. So the business they made these medical boxes for hospitals. And these boxes were like $100,000 for the hospitals to purchase. But they made them for such a tiny amount of money. And that's just, to me, was just immoral. And they'd be so happy about the profits and stuff. And I'm like, this is for hospitals, for places that are supposed to heal people. And now the cost for this box comes down to you and me when we get sick. And we have to cover that cost. And that's why medical expenses are so high. And y'all are over here giggling and driving around in BMWs because it's just absolutely immoral. But yeah, and I'm reaping part of a very small part of the profit of that. And it just didn't feel right. And so it didn't matter how much money it was. It just didn't feel right. That does not feel good. That can eat away at you, knowing something is just morally wrong. So I went on to do something that was fun for me, and I made a whole lot less money, but I was happy because and happiness, I think when you know your values and you know what you stand for, that's where that happiness comes from. No matter what, if everything falls apart around you, you still know that you're doing the right thing and you're doing something you feel good about.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. So, you've lived such a very well-versed and creative and rich life. What is one good lesson life has taught you?
One good lesson. To not, for me, and this is for my personal experience, to not be attached to a certain outcome, to be open to whatever is meant for me will be for me. So some things may not turn out exactly how I expect in the moment, but there's probably a really good reason why it didn't turn out that way. And I'll see that later. But right now it may seem like, oh man, I didn't get what I wanted. But a lot of times in life, you don't get what you want, you get what you need. And so that's what I've learned, to just not, sometimes I don't get things. You know, I apply for a lot of grants and stuff and different things. And if I don't get it, I have to remind myself, well, there's a reason why. There's something else coming up that is for me. I don't even want to say it's bigger than this. It's what's for me at this time.
And that's something that you need is going to prepare you for the next chapter and the next chapter, the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that I second that. I love that, that mindset. Cause I, you know, sometimes I pout about things I don't get to. I'm like, oh man, darn, I had all my eggs in that basket. Now what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta remind myself sometimes, because sometimes things are disappointing. And then I just got to remember that up to this point, what I have seen, the pattern I've seen in my life is that some things don't work out because other things need to work out, or because I need to learn something. I'll give you an example. In 2015, I applied to be a cultural ambassador for the United States, a hip hop cultural ambassador.
Okay.
And this organization, Next Level, they send hip hop artists all around the world to teach hip hop, basically, to conduct hip hop workshops, and then you do a final performance in that country. And so I applied. And when I applied, a couple of my friends sent me the application. They were like, this is you. This is all you right here. And I felt it. I was like, this is me. This is all me. So I applied, and I believed with my whole heart. I was just waiting, looking at my inbox, like, when they're going to send me my congratulations letter. And I got the email, and it was, they declined me. They were like, we're sorry to inform you that, and I'm like, what? I was so mind blown because I believed that this was mine. And that year, I think they went to South America and some other places. So next year when it opened up, I was like, it's me. This is me. I'm getting it. And I had also had a goal to go to Africa. And I was trying to figure out ways to go to Africa. I have friends who teach at universities and would take tours to Ghana and stuff. And I was like trying to get in their classes and all this stuff. But I was like, I want to go to the continent. And so here I am trying to figure out, and I had a savings account. Like however I'm going to get there this year, I'm going there. So I applied in 2016, and the beginning of the next year, I got it. They said yes. And then turns out this particular year, they were sending artists to Africa.
Yeah.
And I went to Egypt. And it was like, I didn't get it the first year because I got it this year. And I got to go where I've been wanting to go. I was going to pay money to do this, but now I'm getting paid to do this, you know, and that type of cycle of things has happened in my life so many times. But I still have to remind myself sometimes when things feel disappointing, like, you know what? It's for the best because something else is coming. That wasn't for me at this time. I always say that wasn't for me at this time. I don't want to just, I don't want to just like count myself out completely. Like that isn't for me right now, and that's okay.
Well, that's part of Miki's personality, y'all. She's stubborn. She's focused. So if it doesn't happen right now, it's not for her this time. It's going to happen, just not this time.
Exactly.
So Egypt. Man, how was that? Like, I can only imagine that experience.
Man, that was just life altering. That was to be able to take all the years of what I've been doing and learning and be able to like be paid and you know, to do this over here with these amazing people. And we went to the pyramids, you know, and I remember I went inside a pyramid. You get to climb inside. There's a way you can tunnel into the pyramids. And I rapped inside the pyramid, and it just felt surreal. It was surreal.
You rapped that whole in experience. The pyramid?
Yeah. I had to.
That's some iconic next level shit right there. You rapped in the pyramid? Like,
I had to.
I know like famous artists that haven't rapped in the pyramid. Like that's a bar right there.
I mean, if you're inside a pyramid, you're in Egypt inside a pyramid, and hip hop brought you there, like I had to spit one. And then even when I was that particular, I don't remember now what it was, but that particular verse that I spit, it had something about building pyramids in it. And I was like, as I was saying it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like I wrote this a couple of years ago, and then here I am inside a pyramid, spitting it.
Oh man.
It was wild. It was the best. And then we got to work with a lot of the youth there, and that it was great. And some of the youth, like two of the guys that were in. So it's they sent an MC, a producer, aerosol graffiti artist, and a dancer.
Yeah.
From the States, and we go and conduct workshops. And two of the guys that were in my workshop, they're superstars now in Egypt.
Wow.
Like superstars, like rocking stadiums. And it's so crazy to see that. It was wild to see, like right after we left Egypt, it was one of them in particular. He just took off. And his first time performing was with our program. Because they didn't really, it's kind of like hip hop just started there at that time. This was 3 years ago, but at that time hip hop was kind of like hip hop in the 70s, 80s here. There, it was kind of just starting. So a lot of the venues wouldn't let them, they wouldn't allow hip hop. And so it was a big deal when we were there, and they got to perform in one of the biggest venues in Alexandria, Egypt. And so, but the guys didn't have a lot of opportunities to perform. So they were scared. They were afraid to perform because they were really terrified. And this one guy in particular, Wags, he was so scared. And I worked with him a lot because he would be on stage looking at his boys the whole time. And I'm like, look at these are you're not rapping to your boys, you know. But that was like his security blanket to look at his boys. And I'm like, no, you're rapping to the crowd. Like, and so I worked with him a lot. Now this kid is rocking stadiums, and you would never know he was ever terrified. He's just out there. He puts his hand up, and the whole crowd is singing his lyrics. It's wild. But the whole experience is just crazy.
Look at you, rap coach of the year. If I need to get my rap career taken off, I'm gonna hit you up.
Well, just don't forget me. Don't forget me.
You know,
let me come to a show.
I'm gonna keep the checks coming. Residuals. So, what do you think the future has in store for this industry? And now, like, I want to say just for the industry in general, like hip hop, the arts, everything that you're encompassing, because I feel like your industry is a mixture of all that, right?
I think it has in store just so much innovation. We have figured out, we overcame COVID. Right. You know, we overcame a lockdown and pandemic. We figured out ways to make it work. I mean, it was crushing. It has been very devastating for a lot of industries. But as artists, artists have figured out ways to use the word pivot. They have pivoted. You created this.
Right.
I created Soul Kids Theater. So many things have blossomed from the ashes, grown from the ashes, that suddenly everything got burnt down. And no shows, no venues, no nothing. And now, okay, let's figure out what to do next. And people have done that and have been super successful in doing that. And so it just shows, once again, the resilience of artists, and how the main thing about being an artist is being a creator, and you create different things. I always say that Black people are master creators because things have always been kind of taken from us, and we still keep figuring out ways to create more for people to steal.
Ooh, don't we?
And profit from. So yeah, we just always keep figuring out ways, like, okay, we can't go this way, so let's dig a hole this way and figure out how to get out this way. So for me, I look forward to just seeing all the different innovation, just so much innovation. It's like it can't be stopped. Right. Art can't be stopped. Music can't be stopped.
But like, yeah, I second that. Like, you know, so much has been taken from us, like from even our own culture, right? Like, so much so that we even create culture. We create culture.
Yes.
We are culture, and people steal
like,
that from
honestly,
us.
would TikTok be around if it wasn't for Black people? Would TikTok be as popular as it is? What do they do on TikTok? They copy Black folks. They copy what we do. They copy our music. They copy what we say. We copy, like, we run this thing. When it comes to creativity, we are the master creators. Period.
Yeah, we are. So I love that. So, you know, me and you, I feel like we could talk all day, but I try to keep this in like drive time listening situations.
Oh, it's been an hour already. Wow.
I know, right? Cool. See how time flies. So what projects are you currently working on, and where can people find you?
You can find me at Miki Vale the MC on all platforms, or MikiValeTheMC.com. The MC used to stand for Master of Ceremonies. Now it stands for Master Creator.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, all right. Okay, MC.
Because I'm open to, I'm an artist, period. Right. I create all the things. And right now, we just started a new playwriting workshop with Soul Kids Theater. And their final performance is
now to April be clear, 30th. Are we saying Soul Kiss or Kids?
Kids.
Okay. All right.
Soul Kids Theater. Yeah. And if you just follow me on Miki Vale the MC on anything, then you'll see the things. I'm trying to do better about keeping my social media updated. And
don't worry, I'm just as bad as you. I that's why I hired somebody part-time.
Yeah.
Because people's like, how are we supposed to keep up with what you're doing? You're always doing stuff, but we don't know about stuff to the last minute. I was like, all right. I don't like to be on social media all day long like that. So
not at all.
But I know the importance of it. So
yeah,
I had to get somebody to help me out. I was like,
that's very smart.
So if you don't like it, hire somebody.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miki, it's been a pleasure having you on the show with all your knowledge, your wisdom. This has been fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did.
I did. Thank you. It's a great way to spend the first thing in the morning, the very first thing in the morning, y'all. It's 7 a.m.
I know.
Well, it was 7 a.m.
I had a big black cup of coffee and joy this morning from Miki.
Thank you. This has been great. And thank you for having this platform for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, thank you. And any last words for the people? Anything you want to give them with the takeaway for the day?
Follow the path your heart beats.
Follow the path your heart beats. You are in tune to the rhythm of your own drum, so beat your own path and follow the path your heart beats.
Yes.
All right. This has been another episode of Rapreneurs. Catch you guys again. And if you didn't get any of the links that Miki gave me, don't worry. I'm going to put them in the show notes. I'm going to get all her info so that you can contact her, do business with her, reach out to her, and then see what she's got cooking in the future.